Hello, and so today's video is going to be on creating a new version of yourself. You've probably heard me talking about creating a 2.0 version of you, or maybe you haven't, and this is a new concept to you. Basically, as we heal, as we mature, we need to readjust. To reach new things in life, right? So we're constantly just like kids, they evolve, they mature, they go from elementary school to middle school, high school, and then college. Like they need to, in a way, become a new version of themselves, right? So that pattern actually like never really leaves us in adulthood. And I mean, and it could leave, and this is why people kind of get stuck in life and they don't really grow as a person, and they kind of get like you might meet like a person in like 10 years, but like nothing has really happened because they kind of get stuck. Like they got this one job and they've been at that job for like 20, 25 years, like, and which is fine. Like it's fine, you can stay there if that's like enough for you. But if you are, healthy and you're thriving and you want more out of life, you're gonna keep evolving. And like that's normal to keep wanting more, to keep wanting to setting dreams and goals. Actually, what happens sometimes is when we go through like something bad in life that happens, whether like divorce or death or like a sickness, like people also get stuck in kind of like a bubble, and they don't really like dream anymore. They stop setting goals, and so this like major thing kind of prevents them from growing as a person, right? And maybe you are in that where you feel kind of like stuck, like maybe it's like it's divorce and it's keeping you. Because like maybe a lot of people go through, well, I thought this was my purpose. I thought I was supposed to get married, have kids, have this family, and now this purpose is like falling apart. Like what do I do in life? Like where am I supposed to go, right? So in order to kind of move beyond that, because if you stay in there in that, that'll get you depressed, that'll get you fearful, that will get you hopeless, right? And so in order to move out of that, you need to create a new version of you. And so I like giving the example going from high school to college, because when you transition from high school to college, it's you're becoming an adult, right? It means, and actually, like, not a lot of adults even go to college, right? A lot of them just go get a job and kind of just, start there. Some go to college. So this is where life really begins to shift. Like we see a really big shift, and people start like going to college, achieving, getting degrees, becoming business people. And so, and this is a level in our life where we start to lose friends. When you were little, kind of your friends sometimes transitioned with you. They went to middle school, especially like if you lived in the same area, then you guys went to the same elementary school together, then middle school, then high school. But then, like when college happened, it's not very often that you go to college with your friends, right? Like this is when something really major, really big happens. So, and sometimes you even move out of the house, you move out of the city, sometimes out of the state to go to a college. So I really like this concept, this analogy of what it's like to become a new version of you. So it's still you, you are you, but you need kind of like a new vision or something to drive you into the next like season of your life. And this is also where you need to build new skills, because now you have to like register for classes, you have to maybe get a dorm, you have to get a car, like a lot goes into that transition, right? Now you are becoming much more independent. So as you heal, you will also see that you are becoming more independent, where before you were dependent on a husband, on a partner. Maybe like your plan B was to be with parents, and now you're like, okay, I've been living with my parents and I don't want to kind of go back there again. So I need to learn to be independent, right? And so the more we heal and we transition, we create these like versions of ourselves, because this version of you got you this far. And so it kind of like caps out. Okay, but in order to like grow more, you need to create a new version of you. Like set a new goal, set a new dream, right? And what happens with this is like when you go to college, for example, you get what? You get excited. Like, yes, there's fear, but that fear is driven by excitement. And this is where like two types of fear can come in. It could be like, okay, I have fear because I don't know what college I'm gonna go to. I don't know, do I even want to go to college? Like, what do I do after high school? So a lot of kids, as they transition, they get stuck in this fear. They're like, I don't know what to do. I don't know. Do I go to college? Like, where do I go work? And all of these like thoughts, right? But then you get more into excitement when you begin to like build more of a plan. You're like, okay, I am gonna go to this college and I'm gonna start with prerequisites because not prerequisites, but like with general education. And from there on, I will figure out what is it like, what field do I want to be in, right? So when you kind of begin to have a plan and you start executing that plan, you kind of that like you transition from one fear, fear of the unknown into now you have a plan to where you're less fearful and it that fear turns into excitement. And so that excitement is what drives you to like not be scared of the college life. Like, right? Like it's scary, but you're like, okay, I have a plan. I picked this college. I got into it. Okay, now I registered for my classes. Now I got my like parking ticket. Boom, boom, boom. You're getting your books. So you're less fearful because little by little you're taking the steps towards your goal, right? And then like when you're in college, first day of school, then you're like, okay, like this is good. And then when like your freshman year ends, you're like, okay, like you kind of get a picture of what like of like where you're going, right? So and this is a lot of times where like midlife crisis may come in as well, and a lot of people that go through divorce are kind of like, oh, what the heck am I supposed to? So a lot of people go through fear. They're like, what am I going to do? What is my life going to look like? And today's video, I want to show you that you need to start creating some form of plan so that your fear can transition from fear to that fear of excitement, where you're now bringing excitement into your life, and that excitement drives you to your goals. Um, in order to um, in order to move forward in life, you need to realize that you're in control of more than you actually think. People think that this is why they have fear, is that they are out of control. They don't have control over the life. Everything is falling apart. But when you begin to plan, have a plan, you see that, okay, I'm actually in control of this and I'm actually in control of that. And so your fear kind of like dies down. Um, Next thing I wanted to say was that step into the main character role. You don't revolve around life, but life revolves around you. The more you get into the main character role, because often uh like people live out of a state of, oh, I'm just like an extra in a movie. Like life is happening. It's kind of like a movie scene, and you're like an extra. Like you feel like you're not important. Who am I? Why am I here? And you have some kind of like little like role in the movie, right? But actually, in reality, you you deserve to be the main character. Like you are the main character of your life. Another example is like a lot of people like live a life where they're just like sitting on the bleachers. The players, they're playing, they're the ones getting paid for playing. You are watching somebody get into good relationships. You are watching somebody get successful. You watch somebody get degrees while you're here kind of like living your life, and like you feel like you're on the bleachers. And what happens when you're on the bleachers? You paid them for them to like live this life, right? And this often happens um when um when you feel like you don't control your life, like your life was kind of given to you, like, okay, like these are my parents, this is who I got married to, like he's the head of the household and I'm inferior, I am nobody. So you're kind of like living in that like bleachers mentality. But I want this video to help you to step into become a player of the game, and not just like a weak player. Become a strong player, become the main character of your own movie. Like, don't be an extra that only gets like 2 seconds in a movie. How about you become, a character that gets like half of the movie? Like, half of the scenes are like your scenes, half of the scenes are your. So it's just like an analogy I want to give you, but it's a really good one, I think, to start seeing like, what does my life look like? Do I have control over life, or am I trying to, and I'll get later into that, is that sometimes we try to control things that we actually can't, and then we don't really take responsibility of the things that we actually can control. So this is speaking to you. If you can like put in some like heart emojis or in there, something in the chat, that I know that this is like speaking to you. Um, the next thing is, so how do you get into this mentality, right? How do you become a player? How do you become a main character? How do you create this excitement? And it's by, like I said, it starts with excitement. Why do you excited when you book a vacation or you start talking to a new person, right? Like when you like are maybe new to like dating and you kind of get excited about like a new like boyfriend you're talking to, or like a new or like a new friend you meet, and it's a possible maybe new relationship, right? We get excited. But that excitement can be happening every day of your life. It shouldn't only be when you have a vacation coming up, when you have something big. Oh, Christmas is coming, so we get all excited. Okay, but then what happens in January? Why do people get like January blues or the winter blues? Because they don't have enough excitement in their life. Um, so if you're only getting excited with when an opposite gender enters into your life, then you become codependent and you'll keep attracting more narcissistic people in your life, because you want to do is you want to fill your life where it doesn't really depend if you are in a relationship or not. Like when you can be happy single, when you can be happy, like even before you have all the money in the bank, even before. So how do you create that exciting life where it's not really like determined by exterior factors, right? You know, it doesn't, it's not determined by your status, if you're married, if you're single, you still have that excitement for life. So, um, and you want to create a life where you have multiple sources of excitement. Sometimes we're only excited when what, like we have a vacation coming up. Okay, then what do we do? You know, kind of like what I already mentioned. So people don't like needy people, and they either use them or they want to get rid of them. So if because men can really like smell this, and women too, like if you have a friend that's like too needy, or you see a guy that like keeps persisting you, but you're like, dude, like I don't like you, like he keeps like, like there's like too much of him in your life to where like, dude, like you're cool and all, but like you're like too much, right? So there's actually a lot of beauty in when you can give yourself in portion, and then you kind of re like, why do we sometimes chase like narcissistic men? Because they make us chase them, because they breadcrumb us. They only give us like a little bit of their attention, only a little bit of their love, so we end up like chasing them, right? So that's not very healthy. So you want to, so if your life is not filled with exciting things, things that you love, things that you are passionate with, when a person comes into your life, like the opposite gender, you're going to be kind of needy because you don't have much going. But when you're a single mom, you're a working mom, you have all of these hobbies, you have all of these interests. Okay, when a man comes in, he's just kind of like a bonus, right? And you're not really like giving too much of him, because men like it. Men like women that are busy. Men like women that have like a very fun life, and they like want to be part of that like life with her. But when she's like too much, she's always available, she doesn't have much going, then like he's just gonna use her for whatever like he wants to use her, right? So I want you guys to become a person that has a lot going. That way, you no longer are a magnet for narcissists. So if you can do this now, or if it's something you can write down to do later, I want you to actually like practice this and do this. So I'm not just gonna tell you about it. I want you to actually like practice this so that you can feel what this is, because it's one thing to learn something, but it's another thing to apply it and see how this works. Because my mission, it's not just to uh like hold you guys by the hand. Like, yes, it starts off with okay, me telling you guys, but then I want you to apply it so that then later you can do this like on your own, right? Because like this is what like doctors kind of do. They put you on medicine and then they end up like giving you more and more dose. Like that's not my mission. My mission is to like heal, help you grow, and then you're out there doing it like on your own. And you are, that's my mission is show you guys how this works, how to apply it, and then you guys apply it. And then application is like the key. Because like you can listen to all the courses, you can one thing is about hearing it, right? And we hear so much from social media to we consume a lot. We consume a lot. But the people that really change are the ones that actually apply this in their life and they like run with it. They apply it and they do it. They apply it. Okay. So I want you to write down three things that bring you excitement. What are three things, kind of like on a weekly basis? It doesn't have to maybe like right now, be daily thing, but like what are three things in your week that bring you excitement? And if you have like a paper pen, you can do it right now, or um you can save it for later. Like for example, could be you get excited on Sundays because you're gonna go to church. So you're gonna be spiritually filled, you're gonna be fed, and then maybe on Sundays you guys have a whole routine that you guys do. You guys get ready for church, then you have lunch together, and then you do like something after church, right? So Sunday is kind of like an exciting day. Then maybe like on Thursdays, you have like a Zumba class. Then on Tuesday, like you watch your favorite TV show, right? And when you kind of know you have those things going that day, like you wake up with excitement for the day because you're like, oh man, like later on today, people like women like to what like watch like The Bachelor or Bachelorette or something, some kind of TV show, right? And then like you're so excited, like you can't get wait, you can't wait to get off work so that like you get to like watch your like favorite TV show, right? So there are a few things in your life that you are excited about, and maybe this is something you weren't aware of. So I want to bring awareness to you. Um, what are the three things that bring you excitement during your week? Okay, so write those three things down and actually like put them on your calendar. Okay, on Sundays, I have church. On Thursday, I have this. On Tuesday, I have this. So that you see, okay, these things fill me up. These things make me feel a certain way. Now, for the deeper assignment, is I want you to imagine yourself in a year. And I want you to imagine a better version of yourself. And I want it to be something that's realistic, but a little bit above like achievable. Um, so this could be like a dream, a desire, or a goal. The example I'm gonna give is imagine yourself being like 20 pounds lighter. And I'm just giving an example, and this could be whatever you envision yourself to be. You are 20 pounds lighter, and that's achievable, right? So you imagine what would I look like if I was like 20 pounds lighter? Like, what would I be wearing? Like, what would I feel, right? Um, what would I be doing, right? Like to be 20 pounds lighter. And that's achievable, right, in 1 year. And then another example could be, okay, like I have less debt. And then what is your relationship status? Like, do I want to be single or do I want to be in a relationship? 1 year from now, what do I look like? Now, imagine this, but also allow the feelings that come with this to really soak in. Like, what would it really feel like to be 20 pounds lighter? What would it be like? Okay, if you have debt, say it's like 20,000, what would it feel like to now only have like 10,000 be in debt? Okay, what does that feel like in your body, right? Like that feels good. Now imagine like you're in a bad relationship and you're trying to get out. And then like a year from now, you actually got out of that relationship. What does that look like? So allow that to feel. What does that feel like in your body? So after you imagined it, then you felt it. Now I want you to do the action part and I want you to write it down. Okay, in order to be 20 pounds lighter, how are you gonna get there? So you're gonna what? Exercise 3 to 5 days a week. That's doable, right? Maybe you can't do five, but start off with three. Then you're gonna cut out certain foods and you can't do big. These have to be small little things that you can achieve pretty much on a weekly basis. So you can exercise, start with 3 days a week, build it up to five. Then you can, what's the worst thing that you are eating that you can cut out? For example, sugary drinks, cut that out, and then no eating 3 hours before bedtime. I like that's like a perfect plan, right? So you have a goal, and then what are the 3 steps that you are going to do to achieve that plan? Um, so in our case, we are exercising and we're starting with 3 days and then building it up. Then we are cutting out because once you cut out one thing, then you're like, oh man, this is good. Because then and then build that up, cut out more things. So okay, you cut out for 1 month, you cut out sugary drinks. Then the next month, you are gonna cut out some sort of carbs or chips or something else that's a bad habit that you are eating. So little by little, as the year grows, you are cutting out more things out of your life. Um, and then another really good one is not eating 3 hours before bedtime. So this might be hard at first. So start off, okay, no eating 1 hour before I go to bed, then 2 hours, then 3 hours. Um, so set doable, achievable steps. Okay. Then our goal number two. Okay. The money one, right? Getting your debt less. So you're gonna be mindful where your money goes. Do I go out a lot? Okay, if I go out kind of often, we eat out often. Okay, maybe I can start cooking more meals at home. Um, so instead of maybe a lot of my money goes to coffee. So now maybe I can transition from having that Starbucks coffee every day to maybe making my own cup of coffee. What unnecessary subscriptions do I have that are coming out that I'm not really benefiting from? Um, what do I have too much of that I keep buying? Like I noticed my kids have so much toys. Like I go in their room and I'm like, what the heck was I thinking? Buying them all of these toys. Like I look at my daughter's toys and she's got like 20 Barbies. Like, does she really need like 20 Barbies? And like a Barbie is like over $10, and then like if you add that up, I'm like, dang, that's a lot of money on Barbies. She doesn't really need that much. Then I go to like the boys' cars. They have like all of these cars. I'm like, do they really need that much? So like be aware of like what are you buying? If I have like a lot of black shirts, like do I really need like a 10th like black shirt? Or maybe I can add a color. So be mindful of like what do you have too much of? Like, do you really need like 10 sneakers? Like we don't. Maybe like five, but not like 10. So if you are trying to save money, be very aware of where is your money going? Are you maybe throwing away food? Maybe you need to buy less bulky items. Like maybe it's good to go to Costco, but are you really eating all of that like bulky stuff? So be mindful of like where your money goes, right? If you're a male, like are you spending too much on video games and they keep wanting you to like buy these like in-app things? Like, do you really need that or it's like not really necessary? Maybe you're doing online shopping and you're kind of adding too much to your cart, things that are not very necessary. So if you do that for a year, I promise you your debt will go down. Okay, and then the third goal or whatever that we said was relationship, right? So am I in a relationship? What status of that relationship am I in? Or if I was in a relationship and I'm trying to get out of this, did I finally walk out and am I now rebuilding myself? So I want you to envision yourself in a year. What does your relationship status looks like and what are you doing to get there? So if I am alone, what does my life look like? Do I have friends? Do I restore old friendships? Is my family back in my life? What does that look like, right? Um, so in order to grow, you need discipline and consistency. Like it's the boring stuff, but it's what you do every day that will get you to your goals. And it's also very important about who you become in the process. Like the process is the most important part. Like your discipline and your consistency is is the key to like getting to like your goal. So like the vision that I just got, it's kind of like the key and a lock, right? Like the lock is your goal, but the key is what will unlock that lock, right? So if you don't have the key, and the key is discipline, the key is consistency, the key is who are you becoming, it won't fit. Like once you get there, it won't fit unless you've been doing the work. Unless you've been doing the work, you can unlock that lock. So, the example I wanted to get was um, it's something I've been like really proud of. You know, I don't want to be like bragging, but I did work very hard, and I've achieved the number on the scale that I've been wanting to achieve, right? And once I achieved that, and it was like this December that I achieved it, um, and because my goal was to be this number by the age of 40. Like I thought I would be it on my 40th birthday, and I wasn't, but I got to it, a couple months later, which I'm still 40, and I still reached it within that year. And I reached it on a holiday season when like we tend to eat a lot because it's winter and it's the holidays, and I'm like really like proud of myself, right? And I noticed that like once I got on that scale and I'm like, oh my gosh, like I came to it, right? But like I didn't feel any different that day. Because I've been doing the work, so it was all about who I was becoming. It was all about the consistency, the discipline, the change that I made in my taste buds that got me to the goal. So this is also very important. In order to get healthy, you need to change the taste buds. So in order for me to lose the weight, I had to change my not just my eating patterns, but like what did I like? I like the chips, I like the cakes, I like the croissants, like I like the pasta, right? But in order to be healthy, like I had to cut that out. It was still in my life, but I had to fall in love with like now I love cottage cheese. I love eggs. I love my protein. I like nuts. I like broccoli, right? And same thing with relationships. In order to have a healthy relationship, sometimes we're gonna get comfortable with like the boring stuff, with like to we have to like I used to like kind of like bad boys a little bit, but they would be the type of bad boys that you wouldn't really like be able to tell that like he's a bad boy, but like certain things he does, they're like so that would be like my drive. So now I'm like, man, I can't be liking like these like bad boys because like this is like not good for me. So I had to kind of like change my taste buds, who I am attracted to, because attraction, it's a chemical thing, right? And because like I mean I can kind of go deeper in this. It's something that was like a childhood thing. Um I was used to like chasing love, and these bad boys, they love to be chased. So now I'm like, okay, I have to fall in love with myself so that I am not falling in love with these like bad boys. So we need to, in order to get to healthy relationships, we have to change our chase buds in like who we are attracted to. Um Okay, so now that you have things that bring you excitement into your life every day, your goals will pull you out of the negative self pattern. So if in 1 year, this is who you're going to become. So you become excited about this person that you are becoming, because this is what's gonna lead you to reaching your goals. And this is what's gonna build you excitement every single day, because you're like, man, in order to be like 20 pounds lighter, I gotta be consistent. I gotta be going to the gym. I gotta be eating healthy. I gotta save my money. So you get excited of the end goal. And this is what's gonna get you out of like the negative, the sadness, the depression. Because like depressed people are what? They stay stuck in the past. They stay stuck because they feel like they're not in control. But now we have created a plan, and when you're working on a plan, you build excitement. So this like changes like everything. Now you're like, okay, I'm in control of this. I'm in control of like what I eat. I'm in control of how I can save money. I'm in control of what kind of relationship I want in. And if this person, because it takes two people to be in a relationship, right? So if this person is not doing anything to build a better relationship, then you know what? I am in control and I can take myself out of this relationship. So, because once you have a plan, you feel like you have a control, you are in control of something that gives you excitement, and that excitement will drive you to build a better life. Is this speaking to you guys? If you can like, yes, good, 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 good. Um, Also, so this will help you to go from the feeling like you can't control anything to being in control of your life. Often what happens with Christians is we say, oh, God is in control, which he is, but he gives you free will and he guides you with the decisions that you make. Sometimes we want to control others, which we can't. And when we say things like, oh, I hope he changes, or that's up to him. So when we say like I hope he changes, that's up to him and God. Like he's gotta want to change. Like that's out of your control. For him, it's a good desire, but this is where you can't change him. If he doesn't want to be changed, you can't change him. That's gotta be between him and God. um but sometimes what we avoid is taking responsibility and accountability of our own life. um so, what will it take for you to be the main character of your life? This is something I want you guys to ask yourself this question. What is stopping me from being the main character of my life? Why am I watching everybody live their life? Why am I not excited about the life that I've created, that other people want to watch my life? We sometimes we think that pastors are the main characters, that our bosses are the main characters, that people on social media, influencers, are the main characters. How are you different from them? What's stopping you from becoming them or being in the same position? So I don't really want you guys to like idolize people, but I want you to have kind of a different approach. Um, like if you're a man, I mean, you're not, but like men might be watching this. Like if you're a man and you kind of only get inspired by pastors, what is stopping you from having that same relationship as that pastor does with God? Like what's stopping you from building that same relationship with God? And who knows, you might become a leader of a small group, to bigger, to now like you might go to ministry, to now even a pastor, right? But if you're a woman and you're watching kind of like influencers, or maybe you have like a female boss, like what's stopping you from becoming a boss yourself, from maybe owning your own business, whatever your dream is? Like what is stopping you from becoming that dream version of yourself, right? Maybe you want to be a mom, but you want to have a degree, you want to be working somewhere. What is stopping you from that, right? um and sometimes it's not having, like, that goal is there but you feel like it's not achievable. This is why I want you guys to set achievable goals, like it's like realistic and a little bit like above, like a little bit above, so that it drives you, right? Because if it's like too easy, you're not going to be really motivated. And if it's like too much, say like 50 pounds, 50 pounds is really hard to achieve. But like 10, like I was stuck at like losing 10 pounds, I think for like over a year, right? I was like, man, because like you're there, but like you're not quite there. That's why when I lost the weight, I think I lost like 12 pounds. So I was like, dang, like that was my drive. I was like, dang, I even like went lower than what I wanted to be. So if you set a goal that doesn't really motivate you, you're gonna give up on it. If it's too big, like you're gonna get too scared and you're not gonna, like, it's also not gonna drive you. But if it's something in between where it's not too hard and not too easy, it's gonna drive you. So that's like the little like trick to it as well. um awesome. Okay, the other thing was also what God spoke today at the prayer is we see like the Old Testament as it took like one person to like lead like a whole nation, right? Like, okay, like Moses was big. He like led a whole nation. Queen Esther was a main character. She led people like David, right? So we read about these characters, and so we feel like, okay, like there's pastors, like they're called for it. I'm not really called for it. So like they're the main character. But I want to tell you that Jesus came so that you and I are now main characters. Like now it takes disciples. Now it takes a lot of people to spread the word. Where in the Old Testament, because Israel was kind of like everybody was looking at Israel, so they were the main nation, and so God kind of did a lot of miracles with them, right? But Jesus came and he kind of changed the dynamic to where now he needs you and I to spread the word. He needs you and I to be part of the body because we all have a talent. And the more you use your talent, he might give you even two, three, four, five talents to multiply. You and I have an assignment. Now you and I are Moses's. You and I are Queen Esther's. You and I have an assignment. So I want this to motivate you that it's not just up to your pastor. It's not just now up to certain called people. You are called as well. Um, so, at first, I want you to become a leader of yourself. Once you become a stronger leader of yourself, then God will lead you. Then you'll become a leader of your family, of your children. This is what I noticed that, like, I wasn't the parent that I should have been to my children. Now that I got out of the abusive relationship, um, I see that some of my kids want to control me. They got a little bit older. I have like a teenager and he's over here trying to be like daddy. And I'm like, oh, no, no, no. I am the mommy here. I am the authority in here. But if I was still in victimhood, if I didn't become the mom I am today, like this, my son, he could have been controlling me, but I'm like, no, now I take leadership of my house because the dynamic that we used to have, I didn't feel like a queen in my house. I didn't feel like a strong mom, like an authority figure, but now I'm stepping into that authority figure as a woman, as a single woman, I am stepping, like our dynamic in the house has changed because I am stepping into that authority position over my children. So once that started building, getting stronger, then God is like, Irina, now I want you to lead a group, a prayer group, a small group, So as you heal, as you mature, God will give you more territory to be authority over. So, you know, so then maybe God will build you to now where you are kind of a leader in a group and you kind of stand out, and now you are kind of like leading women. So God gives you more and more to be authoritative over. So we all have an assignment. If you are a believer, you have an assignment. And for example, like you can reach people that I cannot. Like, for example, I had a client and she, her husband, is a general, in the U.S. Army. And by her coming into my community, I helped her heal. She can reach the woman that I cannot. Like they speak a certain, like language when you're in the military, like you go through a certain thing that like they have their own pain points that I can't really like help them, right? But she knows their language, she knows their struggles, so she can help that community. For example, I helped another woman and she comes from a Muslim background, right? And so I helped her. So then she can now help the Muslim woman, right? So you and I can help a certain, like there's women that you can help that I can't help, or my coach that helped me, he helped me get better so that I can help the people that God is positioning into my life, right? So, um, this is, my duty that I feel like God is uh he has put me into, to help women heal, men heal, so that then we can multiply and help others. This is kind of doing like church outside of church. Yes, like going to church is good on Sunday, but what are we doing Monday through Saturday, and if we're just being stuck to our own little circle, oh, and it's a little bit selfish to think, okay, like I'm saved, my children are saved, but God wants you to really be the light, be the light, start spreading that light and be a disciple of where you are. Like, do people even know that you are a believer in at your work? Are you standing out? Are you being different? So, and kind of like I said, my mission is to raise others, not to keep you stuck. And a lot of times we see with like therapists that are not really Christian, sometimes people go to therapy for years, right? Because they kind of like only talk about feelings, but they don't really give them like tangible things to do. Okay, how can you get out of your feelings without needing my help? So the person ends up only relying on the therapist to make them feel better, instead of the therapist teaching them, okay, how can you feel better when I'm not around? How can I make you so that you don't go from session to session? I want you to be good on your own without session. And this is sometimes what like we see with church. Like a lot of believers go to church and they only feel good on Sundays. And then the rest of the week, by the time it's like Wednesday, they're already like burnt out. Like they don't have that fire. So, as a believer, you are responsible to keep that fire going. Like a pastor is not responsible for you to burn Sunday to Sunday. No, he did his job. He's got his relationship with God, and the rest is kind of on your own. This is why you want to build those healthy habits, because only you are responsible for your spiritual man, how strong are you spiritually? This is why you want to read your Bible on a daily basis, pray on a daily basis, because your pastor is not really responsible, for you. Like, say if it's like a church with like 2,000 people, this is why then they have like small groups, because they do want to help people, because one pastor, he can't help you, on that level, right? He kind of gets to like the really big things, right? That's why they built a system of like small groups, so that you kind of, so there's a leader that can help people on like lower, like to the people that the pastor can't really get to. So um, that's it for this assignment. I know that it will help you to set some in order to get more control of your life. You need a plan, and this is one way of creating more control over your life and feeling like, you know what? Like not giving up. Don't give up. Like create a plan, stick to it, and I promise you your life will begin to change.